Hello, my lords and ladies, and welcome to another episode of our Warhammer 40k. We're painting the Runtherd. This is the boss that's in charge of all the Gretchens. Very awesome looking, very cool, very nice, very glorious in all of its awesomeness. A little bit longer of a video, but yeah, we'll get there. There is no glory without pain. First off, I want to say thank you to all my YouTube members. Can't thank you guys enough. You guys are absolutely amazing. Anybody who subscribes, share this, first time watching, whatever, All right, without further ado, let's go. All right, the first thing you're obviously going to do is build your miniature, and then I put some Sterling mud down on the base, and then I spray painted all in black and then white from above, so you can see a little bit of that black sticking through, especially in the recesses and undertones of the model. So for all of our orc skin, we are doing some Orruk Flesh. Now with this, I pulled up the image on Warhammer.com, went to the Gretchen page, and then you can actually do a 360 spin on this so you can actually see everything. So that's how I get my color schemes for all of my miniatures. But we're painting all of that skin and that glorious Orruk Flesh. Next, we're going to do that squig in all of Skeleton Horde, and that brings out a lot of the coloring. You can also do this because we're going to have to skip to it here in a second because I forgot about it. But the wraps around the staff that our orc is on or holding, you can kind of see it. I don't do it right here. I'm going to do it later. So, yeah. But you can wait for a second. Just keep all your paints out because we're going to be moving around. All right. A lot of Black Legion areas. There's going to be the fur portion on top, a lot of the cloth coming down, the gun holster, a lot of things. So there's just going to be a long little portion right here. So just follow along and pause it where you need it to see what we're painting. For our pants, we're going to be doing some Thondia Brown. You can also use Dryad bark or just a dark brown in general. Obviously, we're going to lighten this up to match the art on the website, but yeah. And like I had mentioned earlier, the wraps that our orc is holding on to, and you can see that the finger's gone on this model. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but maybe he lost it in battle. We'll just say that. For the whip, we're going to be using some Snakebite Leather. Now this whip is not on the website picture, so I'm just making it look like a whip. Obviously it's for the squig, but I don't know how he's going to use it. He's got one hand on a staff and one hand on the swig. Unless he's left-handed when he lets the swig go. Squig. Yeah. All right, for the squig itself, we're going to do a equal part of Lahmian Medium and Blood Angels Red, and we're going to paint that entirety of this squig. We're going to be doing a couple things on that. The skeleton horde we put down earlier just kind of give it like a little bit of a base. It gives it some opaqueness, especially with that Lahmian Medium in there. So we're going to be working on that a little bit later. But once you've painted that squig, we're just going to take some Blood Angels, and you'll see here in a second, we're going to paint that wrap around the orc's right arm. All right, for the leather wraps around the harness for the squig, we're going to take some Cygor Brown. I did put a little bit of Lahmian Medium in this. Cygor Brown is really thick, and it just comes out kind of glumpy. So we got to thin it down just a little bit. We're also using this on the whip handle as well. You'll see here in just a second. For the squig tongue, we're going to be doing some Luxion Purple. Very, yeah, straightforward. All right, for our silver metallics, there is a lot of them, and this is a long clip, so follow along and pause again if you need to. Obviously, a lot of portion of that staff, the buckles around the squig harness, and the earrings, the choker piece around our orc, a lot of that pistol on our orc side, the steel-toed boots, the shields on the boots themselves. Again, a lot of little areas, so just pause it where you need it and just paint along. All right, we're going to do some Bathasar Gold on our staff area. Again, I'm following along with the art from the website. Again, if you want to pause it, you can pause it, but it's mostly the staff, that little bottom portion, and then the top middle areas. Just be a little careful, use a small brush. And if you make a mistake, just go over it with the corrective paint. All right, for the fingernails, the squig's teeth, the teeth on the orc, we're doing some Morghast Bone on those. Also, don't forget the little fangs as well. There's one on the right arm of the orc, and then one hanging down as well on the belly area. All right, last base color, and the doing white. Any white you got, just basic white. We're doing on that gauntlet on the left hand of the orc and the belt as well. We're going to paint it with some black and white checkering here in a little bit, which is a pain. I'm going to try a new method for the first time on camera, and it's, yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah. All right, Ork Flesh and Lahmian Medium. You want more Lahmian Medium than Ork Flesh. I did a 4-to-1, 4 parts Lahmian Medium, 1 part Ork Flesh, and just put it all over that Ork Flesh. I know it's going to come out really green. That's what you want. This is my favorite way to paint orcs. I know you put it on, you're like, oh, this looks horrible. Trust me. Trust the process. Just trust it. Please just trust it. It'll turn out phenomenal in the end, as you can see in that opening, shot of the spin around. The skin does come out better. I like the dark green on it. We'll lighten it up. Don't worry. Just do it. All right, for the metallics, obviously the silver metallics, we're going to be doing some Nulin Oil on that. There's no secret. It's the only way to do it. I mean, you can mix a little bit of Agrax Earthshade in there, but we're not going with like an earthy dark tone. We're going just a straight dark tone. For all the teeth and fangs and claws, we're going to be doing some Agrax Earthshade. You can also put this onto the wrap area by the right hand on the staff for the orc. And you could, if you really want, put some on the pants, but it's not really that necessary. And then finally, we're going to do some Blood Angels Red on the plate on the front, and I think on the back as well. So just paint that on there. It gives it a nice little red metallic look. Looks pretty nice. All right, moving on to the highlights. This is your bread and butter of painting this miniature. So we're going to bring it to life. You could say this is battle ready, but we got a lot of work to do on this thing. All right, so for the squig itself, we're going to take some Fire Dragon Bright, and we're going to paint all those raised areas. I'm going around painting the hairs, the nostrils, the face, the lips, hitting a lot of those just raised areas. Now, if you think it's too bright, you can take a very, very watered down Blood Angels Red, or do like a 5-to-1 ratio of Lahmian Medium to Blood Angels Red, and then repaint over it. That orange will still stick through, trust me, and it'll give it that nice red look. So I do suggest doing that. But it is up to you, depending on how many highlights you put on this Fire Dragon Bright. But again, if you think it is too bright, just do that 5-to-1 ratio of Lahmian Medium to Blood Angels Red, and it will dull it down and look phenomenal. All right, for our skin, we're going to do a reapplication of Orruk Flesh. Now, again, we're going over all of the raised areas, leaving the recesses the way they are. You want that dark green in there. So again, we're focusing on that face, the lips, the chin, the ears, everything that sticks out, all the bulging muscles. Orcs can look a little off because they're orcs. They're not human. So you just want to get all those major areas. 2 coats probably on this. I had to do 2 coats everywhere, especially that scar on the belly. Hit that scar up, but leave the areas around the scar that dark green. Trust me. All right, once you are satisfied with your reapplication of Ork Flesh, we're going to do Ogryn Camo. And basically going over the same exact areas. Again, leaving the recesses dark green. We're just getting over those raised areas. Make sure this is smooth going on. Obviously, I use a wet palette, so it is thinned with water. And we are just hitting up all of those areas again. This Ogryn Camo with that green really makes it shine. The skin will come out phenomenal, looking like a true green skin. And this is like my favorite way to paint orcs. It's simple, it's effective, skin turns out great, and the skin is the focal point of every orc. That's the first thing everyone's going to look at. And then just for a final added touch on the skin, we're doing a little bit on the lips with some Cadian Fleshtone, and then the scar as well on the belly. Just a little bit, nothing too much. All right, for the squig tongue, we're going to be doing a little bit of Diamante hide. And we're doing the edging, and then on the front, just to kind of dull a little down a little bit. It is very bright purple. So, yeah. All right, for our teeth, fangs, and claws, we're just going to do a quick application of Ushabti Bone. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. Just be careful on those teeth of the squig. We want those recesses to be dark between each of those teeth. All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of highlighting on that fur areas. So we're just getting those little V patterns on the fur with some grace here. We're also going to do some edging onto the other black areas. So that's going to be the holster, the boots, anything that we painted with Black Legion. We're going to be doing a little bit of edge highlighting. So you want to take a very thin brush, don't get that much paint on it, and just scrape it with the side at an angle. And that creates that nice little edge highlighting. It does take some practice. I'm still not perfect at it by any means, but the thinner the brush, the better. All right, for our pants, we're going to do in all the raised areas and some Gorthor Brown. This will lighten it up tremendously. Don't get anything into the recesses, just like everything else we've been painting. For our silver, we're just going to brighten it up with a little bit of Runefang Steel. Pretty easy. All right, for the bronzish areas, we're going to do some Gehenna's Gold just on top of that to brighten it up. Just those areas on the staff itself. All right, painting eyes can be kind of difficult, but again, get a small brush. And then it's only if you're looking at the model the right side that you need to paint that white little eyeball. It's very small, so just try not to overdo it. Get a little bit of white on your brush and just paint that little eyeball. And then just throw a little bit of a dollop of Baal Red in there, and that is all she wrote for that eye. And then same thing with that squig eyes. Just throw a little dollop of blood or Bad Moon Yellow in there, and it should be good to go. All right, I am trying something new because this is probably the biggest pain of painting orcs, especially for something that needs to be so precise. And you look at online, you're like, oh, how do they do this? I'm using an acrylic pen of black and trying to draw checkers on a lot of these areas. It is extremely hard. I found that actually painting it with a brush is easier than actually painting it or using this acrylic pen. But I figured I'd show it to show you what I did. And if you want to try it, go for it. If you don't, just go back to the regular Abaddon Black and paint on your checkers on that gauntlet and then the belt as well. All right, for the base, a little bit of Tuskgor Fur. I'm doing all of mine in Martian bases. I do have the Martian technical paint, but I'm just doing it this way. So, yeah. And once your Tuskgor Fur is dry, throw some Agrax Earthshade down on there. And then once that's dry, you can do a dry brush of XV88. Something that make it a little bit lighter, more Martian-like, but it's up to you. And then your favorite part of painting the miniature, because it means it's done, is the rim of the base. And I am doing mine in Abaddon Black, but you can do yours in whatever you would like. 40K, I really enjoy the black rims. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Pretty simple. Nothing too crazy here. A little bit longer video, but it turned out, in my opinion, very good, especially for getting on the table and making it your orc army look great, especially with those Gretchens. And we got a lot of orcs to paint in the future, along with Blood Angels, because we did get the Armageddon box in. So we got, we're still trying to build them and get those videos out. Hopefully get a video out next week sometime or something. So yeah. yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up. I've got more miniatures that I know what to do with, so we got a lot of painting to do. Again, I want to say thank you all to my YouTube members, any subscribers, anybody who shares this video, posts it, likes it, leaves a comment. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't thank you guys enough as we're trying to continually build this channel. Got a lot more to do, but yeah, I love you all, and I will see you on the next one. All right, paint on.